spec says nothing, but my nose says someone's boiling broccoli or there's orcs in that wreckage.
Boy, look over there. Humans. Little git, see if you can negotiate a good scrap. Hey, message to your moms.
Xeno scum. Holy crap! Nice shot!
Good negotiation.
Oh yeah, bro!
Hello, welcome to another Evil Clown Slayer review / discussion. A couple videos back I was talking about how I used to play this game, Warhammer 40,000, and I was pretty convinced that I threw away or got rid of or gave away all my old figures. But I did, I was digging out some Halloween decorations, unpacking some crap out of storage, and came across a box. And a lot of you guys might recognize this from the late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere in there. This box came with a whole bunch of little plastic glory. This is basically what got me started with this whole Warhammer hobby, this little box right here. And it looks like it comes with these cool little action figures, but it does not. They come with these tiny little models. Basically what you see on this box, they all come in little bitty pieces, no paint, no glue, and it's your job to put them together and glue them together, paint them, make them look pretty, make them your own unique army in some cases. And then what you do is you find another person that has gone through the same little bit of hell, and you play them against each other, sort of like a giant game of Risk. The reason I wanted to bring this stuff up a little bit is because came to my attention that a lot of people are not aware of what Warhammer 40,000 really is or where it came from. Again, it was this very expensive, nerdy little hobby. You'd buy these tiny little models. They came in itty-bitty little pieces. You can see that, but that is an arm, a head, and a pauldron. You would then glue them all together, spray paint them, or prime them, and then paint them up. And this is probably about 15 years, 20 years old. I can't remember how long ago that it was since I've done these. I only held on to a handful. Sorry, got some little guys in the background making some noises. Got a little interruption. But again, yes, you would put these guys together, glue them, paint them, and then you would square them up against your friends. There'd be a whole system where you could use, this guy might be worth 20 points, and then someone like this from a different army would be worth 6 points, and you could get 3 times the amount of these guys out in the field, but then they'd have different stats. You'd roll dice. So the way the game would work is you would get, and again, I played edition 3, so there's, I don't know, like 7 or 8 editions now. It would go in a couple different phases. You'd get a turn to move 6 inches, depending on your character type. Actually, I'm sorry, I take it back. So one team would get to move. He'd then get to shoot. You'd roll dice to see if you hit. This guy, if he got hit, would then get to roll dice to see if his armor protected him at all. And then if he was close enough, they would then get into hand-to-hand combat. And there was those 3 phases. From what I remember, again, keep in mind this was 15, 20 years ago. I barely knew how to play it then, and I was a lot more heavily involved. But these guys are what started this whole thing. And now, again, this is still nowhere near mainstream, but Warhammer is very, story-wise, very similar to like a Star Wars. You have like maybe a dozen different armies out there. You got the humans, of course, then you got all sorts of different alien races, and they all have different characters, and different specialties and things like that. Some of the aliens are really good at shooting, some of the things are really good at hand-to-hand combat. But some of the things, when I pulled these things out, I was just kind of poking around looking. I was just noticing how similar this guy is compared to this old Ghazghkull Thraka model. I know they've made new ones since this, but I would say that they took a lot of inspiration from this. I know a lot of the orcs kind of all look the same, but you got big old claw in one hand, claw in another. It's hard to see underneath there, but you have similar plates. You have a very similar totem war banner, whatever you want to call that. Little skull head, I don't know, bull head, bovine, something that looks like a cow. You got the same black and white checkerboard. Shoot, I'm trying to remember. There's different orc armies, so they all have different, something with the G. Can't remember now, but it's okay. But like I said, this could easily be converted into a giant Ghazghkull Thraka. I just thought it was kind of cool. Look at his little feet, are almost exactly the same. Keep in mind, this thing is 20, probably 20 years old. I painted this thing from pretty much from looking at the back of a box. But very, very similar. Sorry, I'm getting out of the camera. I just thought it was cool to see side by side what these things look like. Now, if you had to make this guy about 10 times the size, whose paint job looks better? Oh yeah, it's definitely mine. Even when I was a kid, paint better than these McFarlane toys. Not saying much, I don't mass produce these things. But just thought it was cool to kind of give a quick comparison. Again, I just happened to paint one of these guys because one of my buddies had a whole army of these things, and I said I wanted to try to paint one to see if I could paint them, make them look cooler than his. I think I failed, if I remember right. But this was pretty close to what they were always meant to look like, according to the books and everything. But this is, again, very similar. You can see they got the same little feet, same knee pads. Keep in mind, this guy's meant to be a sergeant or somebody a little bit special. This guy's just a frontline grunt. Also, this guy is the more current model, so there's he's got the best armor now, which is supposed to be better and bigger than this guy. The story says that these new guys are actually like a little bit taller than these old guys too. The original ones were not quite as big. But again, just thought it was cool to do a quick comparison, give you guys a little look. First of all, what started it all for me. But then if you guys start to get into this whole world of Warhammer 40,000, just a kind of a quick little crash course of where this hobby started and what kind of nerd you really had to be to get into it. And again, I know I was always complaining about my helmets on these guys not looking, or not matching their armor. I always preferred the red on red or the green on green. The whole different color schemes for the helmet used to goof me up, and I was not a big fan of that. But again, back in the game days, you'd paint the reds for the tactical squad. I think the blue were supposed to be Devastator. Then yellow would be like Assault, and they'd all have different. You didn't have to do it that way, but that was just kind of the standard for the Blood Angels. It's this character. But that's about all I have for you. I just thought it'd be fun to show you guys. Sorry I'm saying that over and over again. Don't mean to. This was just a little nostalgia for me. I found that box and got all excited, like, oh, I have to go show these off. But that's all I got for you. I was going to say thank you for watching. Feel free to give me some comments. Tell me any feedback. Do anybody else ever paint any of these things and know the little hell that it is to make one of these things look good? Please check out some of my other videos if you haven't seen my other ones. I appreciate it. Helps out quite a bit. And Evil Clown Slayer out.
Oh!